Chapter 1. William Bradford. Tears streamed down Pastor John Robinson's cheeks as he preached his farewell sermon. Heading for the New World via Southampton, Dartmouth, and Plymouth, England, the people later known as Pilgrims would part ways with most of their church family at a town called Delfshaven, Holland. Although they were hopeful the rest of their congregation that remained in Leyden would follow them shortly, for some it would be their final farewell this side of heaven. The scene was filled with such heartache, a large number of Dutch strangers gathered around them, unable to hold back their own tears. Finally aboard, these brave men and women hoisted sail into a prosperous wind that would carry them down to Southampton. While history doesn't record all that was said during this historic departure, one thing we know is that William Bradford left half his heart that day on the dock at Delfshaven. Early life in Austerfield. Halfway between London, England, and the Scottish border, just off the Great North Road, sits the rural town of Austerfield, the home of the Bradford family. While there is no official record of his birth, William Bradford was baptized as an infant on March 29, 1590. When he was 16 months old, his father, William Sr., died, leaving young William in the care of his mother, Alice. When he was 4, William's mother remarried and sent him to live with his grandfather, who died a mere 2 years later. Alice died shortly after her son was returned to her and, now orphaned, he went to live with his 2 uncles. Having no siblings, William spent his childhood alone. At first his uncles determined to instruct him in the family trade of husbandry, but a soon and long sickness prevented William from doing much in his uncle's fields. However, Bradford seized the opportunity of convalescence to immerse himself in his books. Since no school existed in Austerfield, William likely received his education from a local minister. No doubt he would have been immersed in the popular books of the day, such as Erasmus's In Praise of Folly, 1511, and John Fox's Book of Martyrs, 1563. It was not long before William became absorbed with the Bible. 8 miles from his home in Austerfield, a separatist preacher named Richard Clifton, death 1616, was ministering in Babworth at All Saints' Church, which Bradford began attending when he was 12 years old. At this time, Bradford became acquainted with a Scrooby postmaster named William Brewster, 1566 through 1644. Later on, Bradford remembered Brewster as wise and discreet and well-spoken, having a grave and deliberate utterance, of a very cheerful spirit, very sociable and pleasant amongst his friends, of an humble and modest mind, of a peaceful disposition, undervaluing himself and his own abilities and sometimes overvaluing others, inoffensive and innocent in his life and conversation, which gained him the love of those without as well as those within. The two developed a lasting friendship, and Brewster became a lifelong father figure and mentor to Bradford. At Babworth, Richard Clifton believed that the Church of England retained too many Roman Catholic practices and had wandered away from the biblical model of the Church as described in the New Testament.